Hey, what's up guys? It is Rob from Movie Review Time, and I am back with a brand new video. Just want to say before I start, thank you to everyone who is subscribed to my channel, who takes the time out of their day to watch, and stuck with me through hard times. I really do appreciate it. My channel has gone through a lot of changes, and if you're around to the end of the video, definitely stay tuned because I'm going to talk a little bit about what's coming up on my channel and what I've been doing. Not going to be a long explanation, I just want to go over a few things, but stick around to the end of the video. But right now, we are going to do a tag video, and apparently I was tagged. I didn't even know it until I saw a couple other people doing this. The tag is called Top 10 Worst Horror Franchises. And what's funny about this, I did a video a while back called My Top 10 Worst Movie Franchises, not horror movies. So this kind of narrowed it down even more, and it was really hard to come up with this list. What I have here are some stinkers, but you know what? Some of you are probably going to disagree, and that's fine. This is just my opinion, but the tag was created by Erschen, the Horror Corner. I love that. Every time he does that, Sean, whenever you do that, it puts a big smile on my face. You know, it brightens my day every time I see him do that. It's fantastic. But anyway, I always have to do that whenever I'm doing something like a tag by him. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to be throwing in my 2 cents here on movies that I consider my top 10 worst. Or horror franchises that I consider top 10 worst. I also have some dishonorable mentions that I'm going to talk about at the end. I just want to get to the top 10 first and foremost. So, coming in at number 10, I'm going to say the Hellraiser franchise. Now, Hellraiser 1 I like, Hellraiser 2 or Hellbound Hellraiser 2 I like, Hellraiser 3 I even like. Bloodlines kind of went overboard a little bit, and then it starts getting really stupid. I mean, you know, with Inferno and Hellworld and Deader, and I actually liked Hellraiser Judgment, even though Doug Bradley was not Pinhead. I actually liked it. I thought Judgment was actually a pretty decent flick. Revelations, on the other hand, sucks ass. That movie, you know, Doug Bradley didn't return for that, but it was a different actor. It wasn't the same actor who was in Judgment. But he sucked. I'm sorry. The movie sucked. Okay? Hellraiser, you know, I just say most of the films suck. So, it had to be in my top 10. Coming in at number 9 for me is the Children of the Corn series. Children of the Corn 1 is pretty much the only one that I can stand. And it's the one that I think is the best made. I mean, you know, with Isaac and Malachi and all of them, you know, Peter Horton, Linda Hamilton. I think, you know, the movie is so cool. At that beginning when the kids start killing all the adults in the cafe, and Isaac's just sitting there looking at him. You know, I love that part. And then you have, you know, part 6, I believe, which is Isaac's return. It's like Children of the Corn 666. You know, the kid who played Isaac comes back as he's older. I was all for that movie, but the actual plot of the movie sucked. You know, I think the newest one is called Children of the Corn Runaway. There are so many Children of the Corn films. I mean, I can't even keep track. But, yeah, Children of the Corn, I don't know, it's just... Part 2 and 3 have some good moments, but then it just gets ridiculous. So, I'm going to say Children of the Corn is number 9 for me. Coming in at number 8 is the Lake Placid films. Now, Lake Placid 1 is definitely my favorite. Then you have Lake Placid 2 and 3, which I think the crocodile looks ridiculous in these films. I mean, especially part 3. Lake Placid 3, the crocodile looks like it looks like you're watching a cartoon. I mean, honestly. Then there's like Lake Placid, the final chapter. I believe that's 4, which they copied off of Friday the 13th 4, the final chapter. Then there's the newest one, Lake Placid Legacy, which I thought sucked. I don't... these movies. The first one is actually a decent crocodile film. And I like other ones like, you know, there's Primeval, there's Rogue. I like those for the crocodile films as well. But the first Lake Placid is definitely my favorite, but that's coming in at number 8 for me, the Lake Placid franchise. Coming in at number 7 is the Prom Night franchise. Now, the first Prom Night is one of my favorite horror movies. The original Prom Night is one of my favorite horror movies of all time with Jamie Lee Curtis. And there's Prom Night 2, Hello, Mary Lou. Prom Night 3, Last Kiss, which is actually hard to find. Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil. And then there's the remake, which sucked ass. I mean, I don't even care for any of the other prom nights. After Prom Night 1, I don't even care for them at all. But yeah, Prom Night franchise, the remake is so terrible. I don't know. I think it's from the same director who did the Stepfather remake. Oh God, just stinkers, dude. It sucks. That's just my opinion. So that comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is the Hatchet franchise. Of course, there are 4 films. There's Hatchet, then there's Hatchet 2, Hatchet 3, and then Victor Crowley, which is basically Hatchet 4. I thought Hatchet 1 had some good stuff. I liked Kane Hodder as Victor Crowley, and, you know, the kills in the first one are my favorites, but then it just got retarded. Hatchet 2... Hatchet 2 was a little bit like the first one, but I didn't care for the story. And then Hatchet 3 got all, like, cartoony. It just seemed, like, really so far-fetched. And Victor Crowley did the same thing. But the first Hatchet, I guess, was okay. But that's number 6 for me. Then, number 5 is the Amityville horror franchise. There are so many Amityville horror films, I can't even keep up. I can't even name them all. I think the last one that came out is called The Awakening or something like that. Amityville The Awakening. You know, at first it was called Amityville Horror, right? Then you got Amityville 2, The Possession, which I like Amityville 2, The Possession. Like Sean Erschen says, it was more about the possession stuff, or about the house stuff. I actually like that stuff, but... And, you know, he was right. It started to turn into, like, exorcism stuff, or, like, exorcist thing. And the first film, I don't know, this is kind of boring to me. I actually prefer the remake with Ryan Reynolds over this one, just my opinion. I don't think this one holds up very good. But, you know, and then there's, you know, Amityville 3D, and on and on and on and on. It just gets ridiculous. Like, that's a franchise that I think just goes way, way too overboard. Okay, so that's number 5. Coming in at number 4, talk about a franchise that goes overboard. The Sharknado films. There are now, I believe I don't know if the 6th one is out yet. I think it's this year. Maybe it is. But there's 6 Sharknado films. I mean, I understand at first it was a joke. You know, you're not supposed to take these films seriously. It's sharks in a tornado who start killing people. Then they just start doing this stupid shit, like they're in space, and like it just gets so, it's like, okay, enough. You know, we've had enough. This is just getting, I cannot believe they made that many so far. I understand it's not to be taken seriously, but that doesn't mean that, you know, just stop it. Just stop making them. Ugh, I can't stand them. The first one was actually funny and entertaining, but then it just got really dumb. It just, I don't know. So that's number 4. Coming in at number 3 is the Cabin Fever films. Now, okay, you got Cabin Fever, which was directed by Eli Roth, which I didn't think was that bad. It's not a great movie at all, but there are some weird things that Eli Roth likes to put in his movies. This one is definitely strange at times, but I think it's way better than the remake that they did. And it's way better than the other ones. Then you have Cabin Fever 2 Spring Break, which... You know, like, I couldn't stand that one. It had to do with in the school. And then there was Patient Zero, which I thought was terrible. I didn't care for that movie at all. Then there's the remake, which is just like this movie. I mean, scene for scene, word for word, shot for shot, just like this movie. Even though this movie I thought was better. But that even was, I couldn't stand them. It's not a good franchise. It really is not. Cabin Fever is number 3. Coming in at number 2 is the Species franchise. The first Species is watchable, but this is not a good movie. It is not a good... Face it! The only reason you watch these movies is to see Natasha Henstridge naked. Let's just face it. Let's put all the cards on the table. Let's tell the truth. Let's inject ourselves with some truth serum, okay? Let's wrap Wonder Woman's lasso of truth around us so we can tell the truth. Let's tell the truth. That's the only reason you watch this film, okay? That's it. I'm not afraid to admit it. But then you got Species 2, Species 3, and then Species The Awakening, which is aka Species 4. The movies got terrible. I mean, Species 2 was a guy instead of Natasha Henstridge, and then Species 3, and oh god, it just got mind-numbing. So, I don't know. Species franchise, don't care for it. Coming in at number 1, and a lot of you might disagree, but I just can't stand this series, and it is the Paranormal Activity series. Now, I will say, the first movie bothered me. When I first saw this movie in the theater, you know, I got all that hype and stuff. I actually thought this was a very good film. I thought it was very, very well done. However, I think they should have just left this alone. I think this would have been a good movie, like a standalone film like Blair Witch. Of course, you know, then they made Book of Shadows, and then they tried to make that new Blair Witch movie. This movie, I like the whole thing about setting the camera up in the bedroom and there's like a ghost or a demon. I like that. And with my experiences in the past with ghosts and stuff, that's why this movie bothered me. But then it got ridiculous. Paranormal Activity 2, Paranormal Activity 3, Paranormal Activity 4. The same formula with the cameras and like, they tried to change it up with certain cameras and laptops and security cameras, you know, different things. It was just, the series didn't go anywhere. It went backwards more than it went forward. Then, you know, you have Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, which is kind of like a side film or a side plot kind of film. Then there was the Ghost Dimension, which I believe is the newest one, where you actually get to see the demon. It's like, oh, you know, it's like the Blair Witch. It's like, in Blair Witch, let's show the witch. How about that? Let's show the witch. Let's just start showing these things, because it's why? Why are they doing it? I actually think the first movie is well done. I don't have any problems with the first film. But the other ones, it's like they're trying to, you know, this film was very successful. And they were trying to bank off the first one by keeping the formula kind of the same but changing up a few things here and there. But it still felt like they were trying to copy off this one. It's I don't know, I can't stand it. I can't stand the franchise, okay? I think the franchise is lame. So, that's my number 1. That's my top 10. Now we're going to get into the dishonorable mentions. First one I'm going to mention is the Tremors series. When it comes to the Tremors movies, the first Tremors is my absolute favorite. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time, the very first one. The second one is actually a decent sequel. It's not great, but it's decent with Fred Ward. Now, I wish Kevin Bacon would have came back, but it's okay. It starts getting ridiculous. Tremors 3 is PG. Okay, you go from PG-13 movies to PG. Then, you know, Tremors 4, where it's like it's a prequel, it's back in the West or whatever. That was, oh god. You got Tremors 5 and Tremors 6, which is the newest one, like the Cold Day in Hell or whatever. It's getting ridiculous, okay? Michael Gross is the only one who comes back for these movies, and then Kevin Bacon, of course, was going to do the show that got canceled, which pissed me off. I want to see Kevin Bacon come back as Valentine. I want Fred Ward. I want the original... Hell, bring Reba McEntire back, okay? She's used to acting. She does Reba, the TV show. Why, bring her back. But as far as a franchise goes, I just don't think it's very good. Next one, Saw franchise. I can't stand the franchise alone. The first Saw movie was unique. I loved the way it was shot, the characters and stuff like that. The second one and the third one are watchable. I always thought Saw should have been a trilogy. Either that or just have one movie, the first one. But, 4, 5, 6, the seventh movie, which was supposed to be the final one, was laughable. It sucked. And Jigsaw, there was nothing different about Jigsaw. I'm sorry. There was nothing different about it. It felt like a same old Saw movie I was watching. There was nothing different about it. But, yeah. Next one to mention I don't have here is the Underworld franchise. Because, Underworld, Underworld 1 was actually a unique film. And I did think I thought it was okay. Evolution went a step forward, I think, with the action scenes and stuff like that. I think it was visually nice to look at in cool scenes. But as a story, I didn't really care for it. Then you got Rise of the Lycans, which I don't think even had Kate Beckinsale in it. Then you had Awakening, which she returns, and then Blood Wars, which I believe that's the newest one. I can't even keep track. Again, that's a franchise that's run its course. I think it's just, blah. Another one is the Purge franchise. I thought the first Purge movie was okay. I thought it had a unique idea. It was a stupid idea, but I think it was unique in a way that, people wouldn't do it in real life. It wouldn't happen in real life, but it's like, in this situation, I think it does kind of have a scariness to it. But I just thought the films got ridiculous. You got Purge Anarchy, Purge Election Year, which I thought sucked. The first Purge, but I didn't think that was any good. My favorite, if I had to pick a favorite, it would be the first movie. That's not saying much, though. Okay, so next one I'm going to mention is Open Water franchise. There are 3 movies: Open Water 2 Adrift, and then Open Water 3 Cage Dive. Oh my god. Talk about a stupid movie. This girl who's in a life raft lights a flare inside the raft so the raft burns and they're out in the water again after just being in the water for hours. I'm not even going to comment how stupid that was. Open Water 3 Cage Dive. If you have not seen that movie, go watch it. You'll see. But Open Water, the very first one had some scary, realistic elements to it. So I can say that, but the other ones, The Ring franchise. The first Ring I liked. Ring 2 sucked. I hated Ring 2. Rings was even worse. I couldn't even watch it. But as far as, I like this one. And it's weird because The Grudge is completely different. The Grudge, first one I like. The Grudge 2 I like even more. And then Grudge 3, stupid. The last two I'm going to mention is the Resident Evil series. I know people like it, but I just can't stand it. I'm a huge Resident Evil game fan. You can see my Resident Evil game collection on my channel. Go watch it. I show all my Resident Evil games. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. I think they messed up the movies. The first movie is watchable, but they focus on Mila Jovovich, and I'm kind of tired of it. They started throwing in video game characters in the sequels. You have Apocalypse, you have Extinction, you have Afterlife, you have Retribution, you have the final chapter. And here and there they'll put in characters from the game, but they're wasteful and you don't care about those characters. I just think they messed it up. And at the end, the final chapter, you find out that the cure is back at the hive. It's back at where you first started. All this time, we don't even know. The cure is back there. I don't know. I want the series to be rebooted. Please reboot Resident Evil. I just hope to God you can. Last one to mention is the Ginger Dead Man series. I know the series is supposed to be stupid, but it is. I mean, it is stupid. It's in some ways I think it's kind of funny to watch, like slapstick kind of stuff. There are better horror comedies out there, but Ginger Dead Man, I don't think it's the worst things I've ever seen, but it's I had to definitely put it in my dishonorable mentions because it deserves to be mentioned as like a bad movie series or franchise. So anyway, guys, that is my top 10 worst horror movie franchises. I won't have time to talk about my channel update. Maybe I'll do a separate video. But anyway, check out Sean Erschen. Put his link in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one.